Let's talk about intractable pain and the things that I do in my life to live better, to be out of pain more. What are the things that I do? I've made a lot of videos in the last 7 or 8 years, probably more than about 8 years. Not on this channel. I've erased a lot of those videos because there's just a lot of stuff in there I didn't really want people to know. But as you can see in my videos on this channel, there's a lot of different things that I suffer with, and one of those is a lot of trouble in my throat because my esophageal sphincter. I've got a problem down there. That's why you see me trouble with my throat. But I deal with multiple intractable pain disorders, and I'd like to go back to my first one. I I don't want to walk through them all. There's a whole bunch of them. There are two. There are two main disorders of my body, and one of those is adhesive arachnoiditis of my spinal cord canal. So there's adhesions in my spine and inflammation that's at a real low level right now. But those adhesions are there, and it's very painful. And I have another one that began in 2004. These are my two main full body, or adhesive arachnoiditis is half my body. It's about just above up the top of my butt and down. It can go up a little bit higher when I'm in bad flares, and sure, it can affect my whole body too. It's a very painful disorder, but that's why you see me stepping back and forth in these photos. And then in 2004, I had taken an antidepressant for depression and anxiety, in a time where I was choosing medications for that type of stuff. I don't do that anymore, but I took that medication and I got the serotonin syndrome, and it was of a medium level, and it really messed me up. And then people didn't know what was happening to me because I was on other medications at the time, and an indirect side effect from chronic convulsions ended up from tearing my neck. I don't know. That's all I know. It started in my neck, and the convulsions that the serotonin syndrome was causing was thrashing my neck, like day in, day out. Well, it was nightly for a number of months, and then I had a pain, and it spread from my cervical region to my face, and my face hurt so much. I have trigeminal neuralgia today and occipital neuralgia. And I tell you, that pain that I had then when it began, it was intolerable. I didn't know what to do. This is when my pain first began, my first intractable pain disorder. And eventually that died down with some treatment with like morphine, but it only worked like half as much as you would expect. So I was so overwhelmed. And I would say about 3 to 5 months, it spread over my body. My body was burning. It was very tough to move. I remember trying to shovel my driveway. I live in a cold climate in Canada, for right now it is anyways. And I love shoveling driveways to stay in shape. And I remember shoveling my driveway one day and knowing that it had spread over everything, and I was so upset. I didn't know what to do. The lights got really bright, like CRPS. That's what it's like, just consistent burning. But this was full body though, and that's why they call them the pain suicide diseases, because it burns so much that things became so intolerable. And at that point, when this stuff first began with me, I don't remember fully what what it was like. And the reason why is because I have other intractable pain disorders that are now mixed with it. But I remember it was very tough to move. My muscles really hurt. It felt like my bones were being crushed and my skin was burning. And that's the way it was. And there was no breaks. It was just the way it was. And the only thing that could help me that was my first intractable pain disorder. It was bad. It was a constant 9 out of 10 pain. Because if it would have went up one more point, I would have. That's why they call it the pain suicide disease. And with me, it did lead down that road. And that's how I ended up with other pains. And one of those reasons is because the diagnosing practices of being able to qualify for things like CRPS. And at that time, there was a big confusion about people who have full body CRPS. There's no such thing. And that's what my pain physician said to me anyways. And he told me there was a new classification called the nosoplastic pain syndrome that appears as what these people are speaking about. And that's why people with CRPS and people who have what you would say reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which you might associate with your full body. He said there's no such thing. He told me this. Listen, I don't know. This is what he told me. And so I got the diagnosis of the nosoplastic pain syndrome. And he said the pain, what else did he say? He said there's, because of the level of different multiple intractable pain disorders, it just means that you have things on your body that are incredibly painful, intractable. There's no cure. It doesn't end. And so, I could barely tolerate what was there in the beginning. And isn't it something, when you start to gain other pain disorders for whatever they are, you kind of say to yourself, if only I just had that first one, what I would do now, right? And because I wasn't getting a diagnosis, I was very frustrated. I was very frustrated. I felt kind of useless walking in places where there were people who had their diagnosis. I was jealous of their diagnosis because I would walk in for 3 years. 3 years, I walked into doctor's offices, and the only thing I ever heard was, "We know it's bad. We know it's worse than fibromyalgia, but we don't know what it is." And that's as far as it ever got. And after 3 years, that's when I tried to take my life. Pardon me, just a second. I'm just gonna eat something for a second. And I won't go further about that because that's not what this is about. They're not called the pain suicide diseases for no reason. It just means that the pain is bad enough that people consider taking their life because they don't find any options. They don't know what to do in their life. And that's what I want to talk about here. And I don't, I suppose I feel better about talking about the nature of my pains and how many different ones I have, but I don't want to exalt it in any way. I have 4 pain suicide diseases, and I have injuries on my body too that are very painful and intractable. And as I said, so it was the first one with the burning and the aching of my bones and my skin. Then I got adhesive arachnoiditis, and then I got trigeminal neuralgia and occipital neuralgia, and they're very painful. But the occipital and the trigeminal are more episodic. I've been getting, I would say in the last week, trigeminal, I've had maybe no less than 20 attacks. And that's unusual for me, actually. I don't really get it that much. And I have it bilateral, but it mostly goes up my left side here. And then with the occipital, all it takes, this is all it takes. So number one, it makes the lights really bright, but I can't discern which one is causing what, but the lights, because of the amount of things. But all it takes is this. Say I walk out of this picture and just slightly hit my head against this, okay? Within 1 minute, I'll start to feel an ache on the base of my skull, and then it will spread up to the back, and then it will go and it'll wrap around to the front, and then like my eyes will be like this because it really hurts in the back. But usually I can count on it going away after I take my next pain dose. It will not last long, but there are times when it can be so brutal. It just takes one wrong thing. I mean, even if it's a light tap, it's just a light tap is all it takes. It doesn't mean that a harder one will make it worse. I don't think it really will. Well, what I mean is like the length of time. Sure, it'd be worse, not all the time, but yeah, it just takes. It'll almost like it go away within a number of hours, is what I'm saying, and that may also be dependent on the things that you're taking, and that's what I want to get into here. So I've never made a video like this, and give me another second, and I'll get into it. I have abdominal syndromes as well. And that's why you see me go out of the picture and eat, because my stomach gets really upset when I start to speak. And when I try to stay still in a picture like this, it does cause stress. It causes quite a bit of stress, to be honest. Because of the array of things that I name that I suffer with. So, the pain, suicide, diseases, the ones that I named. And there's 4 different ones I have in my abdomen too that are pretty much just as bad, just in a different way. So in me saying that, I hope that you trust me that what I'm saying is a good way to live. And fit this to your picture is all I'm going to say. When I first... You see, what happens is when you first get a pain disorder, let's say you get CRPS, or you get severe fibromyalgia. So fibromyalgia can be just as bad as any pain disorder. It can reach the level of CRPS. I know because I spoke to people who study this stuff. In it's not a lot of cases, but there is fibromyalgia that can reach really high levels. So let's just say you have that, okay? And you get it for the first time, you really don't know what to do. And you may feel lost. And it's even worse if they're not telling you what it is, which was my case, which is the reason why I wanted to take my life. And it wasn't a good way to go, but I felt trapped. I felt absolutely trapped because nobody was... It was a very hard road. And I began with certain medications, and the last thing I ever wanted to be on was an opiate, and that is the truth. I didn't want to be on meds at all. But it was quite apparent that I needed something. And so it was like gabapentin and morphine is how it began. And those are okay. And today, I notice for neuropathic pain, so if I get occipital neuralgia, or if something is really burning in my body, and even just muscle pain, I notice when I go to my next pain dose and I take my opiate and I take my gabapentin, it goes down. It goes down. It's really good at neuropathic pain management. I was always an active person, and I am now. I'm just as active as I used to be, but just in shorter spurts because I can't run. I can jog, but that would probably set off my adhesive arachnoiditis. I believe that the answer to, despite your pain, look at the pain diseases I have, but yet I can still go for 2 walks a day, and I can do push-ups and dips at home here. I choose to do my own home gym. So, people with Parkinson's disease, when they wake up in the morning, usually what they do, if they take meds, or like a motor neuron disease, it takes a while to get going. And it's no different with adhesive arachnoiditis and just people with intractable pain in general. You start to move and it's tough, and you take your meds, eat your food, drink your water throughout the day. If you don't drink your water throughout the day, you're putting yourself in trouble. Unless you drink enough water at once type thing, because you're going to leave yourself in a place of restless leg syndrome, and it's going to affect other parts too. Stop drinking Coke and Pepsi and tea and coffee and all those things. Those things will just wear you out. What I mean is like on a chronic basis. So when I'm having my meals, I know people say all kinds of stuff, but it's kept me quite well. I'll have, while I'm eating my meal and taking my pain meds, I'll have a cup like this. I'll maybe have 5 of those, okay? I'll maybe have 5 of those. So I maybe have, that's what I do. And I sip throughout the day, and it helps me keep awake. Whatever it is you do. Pardon me. I'm not giving you a map. I'm not giving you any of that. I'm telling you what works for me and what I learned. And living alone made a big difference for me for many reasons. Because of so many distractions, it was just better to be alone. I started doing a workout every single day. It's been about 8 years now. So I noticed, you wake up in the morning, you take your pain meds. You got to take whatever pain meds first. You may not take pain meds. You may just take something like, ultra low dose naltrexone or something like that, or something that's not addictive. I say this to people. If that works for you, good. I'm happy for you that you don't have to be on those things. But I need pretty substantial pain medication. And what I was doing with them before wasn't making them work to their maximum, to their potentiation. And so what I do when I get up in the morning, I take my meds, I eat my food. Usually I just sit here and I do my university. I study the Bible. I do either one of those, okay? Today was the Bible. Happy holidays. Once I get those pain meds to kick in, I have colic medication too, so I suffer with a lot of abdominal colic. When I'm done, 1 hour, okay, I sit there for 1 hour. For every meal I eat, it's 1 hour. I let myself relax. I stay still, take my pain meds and my food, because I have to eat small frequent meals because of my abdominal pain, a specific disorder that I have. And when I'm done that, I'll go and wash my face and do that regular stuff. Too hard for me to get up in the amount of pain I have to wash my face and do those things. No, I got to take my pain meds. It's like that. Some mornings are better than others, right? And so I make sure that I do a workout. And what that does is that helps build my endorphins. But it doesn't only build my endorphins. It potentiates the opiate, every medication that I take for pain. It potentiates it. Because here's a mistake of me taking an opiate for those first 3 years of my first pain disorder. even though I loved and was still walking, I wasn't disciplined. I was caught in a place of, okay, well, I still sat around and kind of did nothing because there was no opportunity for me to work in that state. It was that bad. But there were lessons that I had to learn, and that's what happens as you get older and stuff like that. But and then I'll go and shower afterwards. So not everyone is capable of doing the things that I am willing to do. Okay, I'm willing to get on the ground even though I have a brachial plexus that I got in 2015, but it's permanent. It's intractable. I still get down and I do as many push-ups as I can. Not as many as I can. I can do as many as I want, but I'll do like 40 or 50 push-ups. I'll do dips on my chair. I buy my own weights, right? And I do that. Then I go have a shower. I come out here, and whatever I do in that time, between that and my next meal, okay? So I'll eat another meal. I'll take pain meds, and then I'll go out. Whatever. I'll go work. I'll go walk. And that's what I believe, not even from just a perspective of someone with pain, but my dad, he's 81 years old. He's on his 82nd year. And he can walk further than probably most people I know in this world. And at a quick speed. And I the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I love walking. And I hear from older people saying, what kept you you're 103 or 105 years old. What is your secret? And this is what they say. They say, I do strenuous exercise once a day for 1 hour. So go out there, play tennis, go out there, go for, like a good brisk walk may count for that. It does. Just make sure you're walking more than 20 or 25 minutes. It will benefit you so much. But what won't benefit you is if you do that, it will still help you. And then you go home and you eat a Mars bar. And then you're eating stuff like that. That stuff is going to destroy your health, and it's going to end up in heart disease and all those different types of stuff. You're going to feel tired afterwards, and it's going to inflame your body. I know the temptation of wanting to eat those foods. All I eat these days is very healthy foods. There's oranges there. There's a little bit of blueberries, oatmeal. I'll have my rice with no fat gravy that I have. I can only eat so many things. Great protein. I eat egg whites and fish and a special cereal designed for celiac disease. I don't have celiac disease, but making sure that I eat very low sugar stuff. I got to get out of this picture for just a second. I don't. Just give me a sec. It's too hard to stay in the picture. It's a way that you look at your life. I know those things that I say may sound hard, but you have to start somewhere. You see, before I moved in this place over 7 years ago, when I was still living in my parents' house and I was completely emaciated, I was nothing, man. Because my pain wasn't treated. I didn't know what I could and couldn't eat because I didn't have proper medication for my abdomen. And so it starts with little steps. God has blessed me now with strong legs, like muscles that I never would have imagined that I didn't even have when I was 20 or 25 or 30 years old. I'm 47 now. Like I can't imagine it. Like I can't believe it. And I used to walk around here at my building on the park grounds. I couldn't even walk over. I didn't have a car. I didn't have anything. When I walked in this building, I didn't have anything. I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have anything to my name because where I was, I didn't need that stuff. And I'm hoping to speak to someone who wants to start somewhere. You see, one of the major secrets that I think is build your strength with the right foods. You don't have to be, I'm going to become this big monster. No, but become strong though, right? And it's all in your will. It's all in your will. If your pain is bad enough, if your pain is bad enough, you're probably willing to do anything. Even if it means believing in God or looking in the Bible, whatever you believe in, because you only have so many. Someone may be watching this and maybe in hell. I couldn't walk. I was stuck in a couch or a bed for almost 9 years. I was pushed around in wheelchairs. And even though you see me having trouble with my throat, that's just my throat in this, okay? I can do more things than most people in this world. I'm not even kidding you. And the reason is because, well, and that's not what this is about, but I put my faith in something. I put my faith in God. I started reading the scriptures. And whether you believe or not, this is all I want to say to this. That while you're trying to get through this and you're trying to develop a new plan for yourself, no matter how tired you are, picture your life in this camera view, okay? Picture it as a square. And you have one corner here, one corner here, one corner here, and one corner here. Up here, okay? Up here is your pain meds. Up here is your sleep. Down here is your exercise. In the middle here is your learning. And over there is your spirituality. What people don't recognize is, we're not just here. We don't just happen to be here on earth from a big bang or something like that. All I'm saying is there is a spiritual aspect to this whole thing. You're going to need a lot of energy in that realm. And whatever you choose, I hope it works for you. I got so worn down, right? I got so worn down because the things I had were so severe. They were acute. I have chronic acute pain. It's not severe, it's acute. And if I don't have an opiate, you will not see me walk out that door. You will not see me outside. It's that bad. But what I do is this. So, like I said, drink water. Go for walks. Start strengthening your body. There's going to be people who say, well, I'm so tired I can't even do that. It starts with a step. Is it your sleep that's causing you? Because, you start losing sleep. Sleep is one of those corners, okay? Sleep is big. That's number one. With pain meds, that's number one. Find a sleep medication that's safe or something like that. I'm not here to recommend medications, but to put yourself into the position where your pain isn't being amplified because you're missing 4 hours of sleep. Then get your pain meds in order. And when you have enough pain, I'm very strategic. So let's just say I wake up, I take my pain meds. I'm not going to work out if I don't have my pain meds. But because I have that pain meds, I know I'm capable of doing a certain level of fitness. And again, I take my next one and I go out the door. And when I go out there, I start building and building and building and building and building. That's what it is. And that's how I'm in great physical fitness. Despite you see the trouble, that's just my esophageal sphincter causing this. That's it. I'm not dying. It's like achalasia. So it's very tough to speak. There's a lot of spasms in my esophagus. I have esophageal spasms. So you got to look at your whole life in like a biopsychosocial. You have to look at holistically everything. You're going to have to revamp your whole life. Look at your entire life. what am I doing right and what am I doing wrong? Am I eating bad foods? Do I have bad discipline? That is the key to this all. Discipline. That's what I live my life by, and I live it like someone in the army would, because for me there's no other way, and I don't want to end up back down on that path of suicide. I don't want to die. But there were times where my pain was intolerable for prolonged amount of times. Man, I spent my time in suffering, and it wasn't good. Yeah, happy holidays to you guys. I'm not sure what else I want to say. Actually, I'm looking right at it. One of the most important things you'll look at in those squares I'm talking about is your food. Take another look at the food. Do you have a good balance between your protein and between your fiber, between things, that you're getting enough fats and carbs and stuff like that to keep you going and not leave you tired? After you're like 35 or 40 years old, this is exactly what I do, like say for my abdomen, because of my abdominal disorders, I don't have to, but I use a probiotic. But, like the basics, make sure you get, because I can't, I had surgery in 2007, and that surgery caused celiac intolerance. And it also caused lactose intolerance. So I can't have milk, and so I what am I talking about here? Yeah, so I have my vitamin D3. So just think of it as simple like this: B, D. So I have my vitamin B12. You may take vitamin B6 as well. I don't need that because of some of the foods that I eat. And blood tests. Vitamin D3, I take 3 of them. Usually just take 1, but for me, 3. And a multivitamin. Just those 3 vitamins. And I've read a lot about that, and people. So I'm 47 years old. After you get over 40, it's probably a good idea to have that, and then you'll know that you're doing well. When you get your blood test and you see that type of thing. But pain control, sleep, drinking and eating properly, good discipline, and exercise. And if you keep doing it that way, I believe that you can live a better life. And the other sphere is something to believe in. If you believe in God, God bless you. What I mean is of the scriptures. But whatever keeps you going, whatever keeps that faith up in yourself, right? Because you're going to find if you have serious intractable pain, you're always going to be fighting against the grain. You may not be. What I mean is without some type of faith in something. What are you looking forward to? There is a spiritual aspect. We're not just here. We're not just models just sitting here, right? Anyways, guys, I hope this has helped you in some way. If you have questions or anything, and you feel free to ask. For me, this was a big learning curve, and to be honest, I shouldn't even be here. And, well, thank God I am.